Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. In the previous discussion in chapter 15, we have discussed in detail the situations where we take into account one population proportion and we set hypothesis as pi is equal to something, and in some other situations where there is single tail distribution, we take into account greater than or less than situations into our account. And today we are interested in considering those situations where two populations are there in the consideration. So the situations may be like this. Let us see this statement. A consultant to the airline industry is investigating the fear of flying among adults. Specifically, the consultant wishes to know whether there is a difference in the proportion of men versus women who are fearful of flying. So basically, he's considering the fear level of the men and women. Okay, so definitely men and women are two different populations, and out of them, if we take sample and then we check that what is the proportion of men and what is the proportion of women that have some phobia regarding flying. So, if such situations are there where there are two populations and you are interested in knowing something about both populations, then we consider the tests where we use two population proportions at the same time. So you may see the remaining examples like this. So you may see the Vice President of Human Resources wishes to know whether there is a difference in the proportion of hourly employees who miss more than 5 days of work per year at the Atlanta and the Houston plants. So there are two plants, and he is interested in knowing this situation, that whether more than 5 days of work per year missed by employees. So similar situations may be there. And we use this formula. I shall write down this formula in some other form, but this is the formula. You may consider it. Okay. Then you may consider this example. Better would be if you solve it on your own. In fact, it is solved completely over here in your book. We may consider this self-review. Let us try solving this. Okay. Of 150 adults who tried a new peach flavored peppermint patty, 87 rated it excellent. Of 200 children sampled, 123 rated it excellent. So it means there are two populations, one of adults and one of children. Using the zero point 0.10 significance level, can we conclude that there is a significant difference in the proportion of adults and the proportion of children who rated the new flavor excellent? So now there are questions in form of parts. So you may answer one by one. And if these questions are not there in the question, then you will use the six-step strategy. I mean, you will answer in 6 steps. So as there are parts, so let us solve the question according to the given situation, I mean in form of parts. Okay, so state the null hypothesis and the alternate hypothesis. Here in this case, you will write down, let me write down. Null and alternate hypothesis, H naught and H1. So if you see, population proportions will be written over here. Previously, we were simply writing down pi, but here in this case, we will write pi, 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 and pi. Now you can see there are two populations. One is of adults and one is of children. So you may give subscript as A and C to these two populations. But now for simplicity, I am simply giving 1 and 2 as subscripts to the pi's. Let's say pi 1. Pi 1 means proportion of adults, okay, in adults proportion population. 2. 2 is for children proportion, pi 2, children population. Similarly, 1 and 2. And then you see, can we conclude that there is a significant difference in the proportion of adults and proportion of children? Difference, the word difference is there. It means that you will write down equality sign and inequality sign over here. And you only want to know that whether there is difference or not. You're not interested in knowing that which proportion is greater than which proportion or less than which proportion. You're not interested in that situation. You simply want to know that whether there is difference between the two population proportions or not. So this is answer. This is the answer for part 1. What is the probability of a type 1 error? So type 1 error is basically the level of significance alpha. So that is given 0.10. So answering part B, you will write down alpha is equal to 0.10. Simple. Then, is this a one-tailed or two-tailed test? So definitely it is two-tailed test because equality sign is there. So you will write down two-tailed. Then move onward. What is the decision rule? So for decision rule, you would have to draw the normal distribution. Okay, so part 4. Decision rule. This is the normal distribution. Okay. And you will use z scale. So in the center, z value will be 0. It is two-tailed. So one tail will be to this side, one tail will be to this side. So you have to divide alpha by 2. Alpha was 0.10. Divide by 2. It is 0.05. Similarly, this side will be 0.05. And for this portion, you have to subtract 0.05 from zero point 0.5. The answer is 0.45. You can check it. I don't have calculator. 0.45. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now you have to see the z value against this value 0.45. So for that, you have to consult the z table. Okay. So the z table is there. Let me copy this table. Okay. Or let me have another file for my convenience so that I have both tables on the same place. Oh, okay, so now it is easy for me to handle these two. Okay, so 0.45 you have to locate here. This is 0.4505. You will take this value 1.65. 1.65. And by the way, if you see T table, so in that you can also find out the value, and in that case the degree of freedom will be infinite. So you can see this final row Z. So at this point, degrees of freedom, basically these are the degrees of freedom, and finally 1000, and then there will be infinity. So when the degree of freedom will be infinity, whatever value T statistic table will give you, the same value will be there in the Z score table. So in this case, if you see against 0.4505, the value is 1.65. So 1.645. So this is the value basically 1.645. So when you will round it out, it will be 1.65. So this is against, you can see this one tail 0.05. And if you consider two tails, so against 0.1, this will be the value. So 1.65. To this side, this will be with positive sign, 1.65, and to this side, minus 1.65. So now you can write down if the calculated z statistic will exceed 1.65 or it will be less than minus 1.65, we would reject H naught. So this you have to write down over here. If calculated value of z statistic will be less than minus 1.65 or it will exceed positive 1.65, comma, we would reject H naught. So this is the decision rule that you have devised. Okay, what is the value of the test statistic? What is the value of the test statistic? So you have to find out this value using formula. Using formula. So part, this was part D. Yes, this was part D, and now E. So now test statistic in this particular case will be Z is equal to uh, P1 minus P2 divided by PC QC into 1 over N1 plus 1 over N2 square root. Okay, so this is the same formula that you can see over here, but I have simply transformed it. I have changed the shape of the distribute formula so that you can easily memorize it. So this is the formula basically P1 minus P2 PC. So 1 minus PC is basically QC, and PC QC will be here as numerator, PC QC will be here as numerator. So this sign, this root is over both terms. So PCQC, PCQC, when you will take PCQC common, so you will remain with inside the braces 1 over N1 plus 1 over N2. This is what I have written over here. Right? So now another thing that you have to find out is that you will substitute in the formula is PC, the value for PC and QC. So value for PC you can find basically in this case you are pooling the proportions, combined proportion. So combined proportion in this case will be x1 plus x2 divided by n1 plus n2. So x1 is basically the number of successes in first population. X2 is the number of successes in the second population. Similarly, this is the sample size for first sample, and this is the sample size that you have taken from the second population. So x1 plus x2. So what is x1 and what is x2? For that, you have to consider, again, you also have to write down the value for P1 and P2. So what will be P1 and P2? P1 will equal X1 over N1 and P2 will equal X2 over N2. So let us come to the question. If you see 150 adults who tried a new peach flavored peppermint patty, 87 rated it excellent. So 87 has rated it excellent out of 150. So 87 is your x1, okay, and n1 is 150. Similarly, when you will see the second population, 123 is x2 and 200 is n2. So this is what that you will write over here in the formula. 87 divided by 150. So please use your calculator. And x2 was, I think, 123 divided by 200.
61 is equal to 0.53.
0.53, this is P1.
Yes, sir.
53.
Yes.
0.53. Okay.
P, P2 0.615.
0.615. So check P1 again. 87 divided by 150. Yes.
58, sir.
So this is 58.58. Right. Now you have to find out PC, combined proportion, PC. So X1 is 87 plus X2 123 divided by N1, N2. So N1 was 150 and N2 200. So see what is the answer.
0.6.
0.60. Okay, so this is the combined proportion. So now you have all those values that you have to substitute over here except QC. So what will be QC when you have found PC? So you know PC plus QC will equal 1. Okay, and if you are interested in finding out the value for QC, you will solve it for QC minus PC. So 1 minus zero point 0.6. What is QC? 0.4.
4.
Okay, so zero point 0.4 is your QC. So now you can substitute all those values here in this formula that are required. So Z is equal to,
واسمع جارك وزكا درس نمزي
please
ما جبتنا
turn
ولا
off your mics so that you can only listen me. P1 minus P2. We have found these two values, 0.58 and 0.615. So you can write it down as 0.62. You are taking other values up to 2 decimal points, so change it, round it off up to 2 decimal points. 0.58 plus 0.62 divided by PCQC. PC, and this is QC, and then 1 over N1, 150 plus 1 over 200. This is closed square root. So separately solve it. See the answer. Sorry, it is this sign is not positive. This is negative. Okay, so negative. You have to subtract P2. You have to subtract P2, not add. So answer will be with negative sign. So what is answer? Is the answer? Yes, Zoeb.
Sir, minus 0.7559.
No, again check it. Separately solve it. 0.58 minus 0.62. The answer is 0.04 divided by, first multiply these two terms, zero point 0.6 multiplied by 0.4, 0.24, 0.24, and then 1 divided by 150 plus 1 divided by 200. It is 7 by 600. 7 by 600. So see what is the answer for 7 by 600. It is 0.04 divided by 0.24, and remember you have to take square root. 24 multiplied by 0.0116. Multiply this with 0.24 and then take square root of this answer. So you will have 0.04 with negative sign divided by 0.0529. So you may take 3. Yes, you are correct. The answer is minus 0.7559. So you may take it as 0.75 or you may take it as 0.76. 559, so you may take it as minus 0.7, minus 0.76. This is your Z. Fine. So we have answered this part. What is your decision regarding the null hypothesis? Now you have to decide about null. So 0.76 is the answer. 0.76. So to which side it will be? It is with negative sign. So definitely it will be somewhere here. 0.75 with negative sign, or 0.76 with negative sign. So exception region. In the exception region, 0.76 is greater than minus 1.65. So it is there in the exception region. So what will you say? You will say that we have remained unable to reject the null hypothesis. You are unable to reject the null hypothesis. It means you are accepting, and exception means that population proportions are same. What is the p-value? Explain what it means in terms of this problem. What is p-value? So for p-value, you have to consider the calculated value, that is 0.76, this value, and you have to locate this value here, 0.76. So 0.7 and 0.06 is here. So the intersection value is this 0.2764, 0.2764. So 0.5 minus 0.2764. You have to subtract this value from 0.5. So this is your p-value. And remember, it is two-tailed. It is two-tailed. So you have to multiply this difference with 2. So in this way, you will find out the probability value. Yes. 0.5 minus 0.2764. Whatever is the answer, multiply that with 2. The answer is 0.4472. So this is the probability value. And you know, probability value for let's start with this. Point four. Sometimes it don't follow me. Sometimes it doesn't follow me. So please don't worry. 0.4472. And here you have to write down 0.10. This was the level of significance. So which one is larger? This is larger. This value is larger. Probability value is larger. And the rule is we reject this when it is less than alpha. So in this case, it is larger, so we don't reject H naught. Right. So now you have to give the interpretation, and interpretation has been asked as this. Explain what it means in terms of this problem. So you will say that it means that the population proportions are same. It means that both adults and children said that the flavor was excellent, or they have rated the flavor as excellent. Both populations, the population of adults and the population of children. Okay, so you can't say that one is favoring the flavor or saying that flavor is excellent and another is saying no, it is not excellent. So both are saying excellent, right? Now there are exercises you may see. The null and alternate hypotheses are given. Okay, so in this case, single tail will be there in the distribution. Right? A sample of 100 observations from the first population, that is that x1 is 70. So x1 is given. Similarly, n1, n2 is this, and x2 is this. State the decision rule. So you can straightforwardly go to the decision rule. Okay, because the null and alternate hypotheses are given in the question. So those are not required. Compute the pooled proportion, PC, you will find out using these values. Compute the value of test statistic using formula that we have just used. You will find out this. What is your decision regarding the null hypothesis? Definitely when you will find out the calculated value for Z and the tabulated value for Z or the critical value. And then you will compare and finally you will know that what are you going to do regarding exception or rejection of the null hypothesis. Similarly, if you see this question, it is on the same lines, no problem, you can solve it. Simply it is two-tailed and use six-step hypothesis testing procedure in solving the following exercises. So now these are the exercises where you have to use the 6 steps. So we may solve any one, let's say this is a tricky question, so let us solve this question. Okay. GFK Research North America conducted identical surveys 5 years apart. One question asked of women was, are most men basically kind, gentle, and thoughtful? Okay. The earlier survey revealed that uh, of 3,000 women surveyed, 2,010 said that yes, they were. I mean, they were basically kind, gentle, and thoughtful. This was the response from 2,010 women out of 3,000 women. The later, there was another survey. The later revealed 1,530 of the 3,000 women surveyed thought that men were kind, gentle, and thoughtful. At the 0.05 level, can we conclude that women think men are less kind? Women think men are less kind, gentle, and thoughtful in the later survey compared with the earlier survey. Okay, so now you have to see, you have to solve it in the 6 steps. Null and alternate hypothesis first. H naught, H1, pi, 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 and pi. So you have to see what subscript you are going to give it.
Okay. Less than.
Less than.
Well, first of all, you will write down the subscript. Men and women. Men and women are there. So you may write down men or women and men, women and men. So what was the question? Are most men basically kind, gentle, and thoughtful? Okay. And what was the response? Initially, in first survey, 2010 are saying that yes, they are. In second, 530 are saying that yes, they are. Okay. So, or otherwise, you can say instead of writing W and M, because if you see the situation, women are being surveyed. Okay, men are not being surveyed. The question is regarding men. Okay, but only women are being surveyed. So there are two surveys: first survey and the second survey. In both surveys, we are asking question from women. So instead of writing W and M, you would better write. Better would be if you write 1 and 2. Understand? So 1 will mean first survey, 2 will mean second survey, first survey, second survey. Okay. So can we conclude that women think men are less kind, gentle, and thoughtful in the later survey? In the later survey. So later survey was this pi 2, and in this survey less. In this survey less. So which sign should be here? This is very important because once you have constructed the null and alternate hypothesis correctly, then it will be easy for you to answer the question. Okay, so which sign should I put over here?
Less than.
Which is less than? Pi 1 is less than or pi 2 is less than pi 1?
Pi 2, sir.
Pi 2 is less than pi 1?
Yes, sir.
Anybody else?
Sir, pi 1 is less than pi 2.
Pi 1 is less than. Why? Give the reason. Question is in front of you. This is very important because if you are unable to construct it, then there will be a problem. It is very simple. Okay. Why? Simple. Can we conclude that women think men are less kind, okay, gentle and thoughtful in the later survey? In the later survey, they are less kind. So this is the later survey, and in the later survey, they are less kind if you are going to put this notation. Understand? So hey bata, you are not correct. This is the situation. And then at the 0.05 level of significance, so definitely second part. So now parts are easy. Alpha 0.05 given. Third part, test statistic. Two populations are there. You will use Z statistic and P1 minus P2 divided by PC QC 1 over N1 plus 1 over N2. This is closed square root. This is the formula. Fourth part, the fourth part, you have to draw the distribution, Z distribution, Z scale. In the center, value of Z is 0. Sorry, this is one tail or two tail? This is one tail,
One tail.
a single tail. So kink is to the right side, so tail will be to the right side, like this. And this is 0.05. There is no need of dividing it with 2 because single tail is there. Okay, and then you have to write down the share of this area. That is 0.5 minus that. So that will be 0.5 minus 0.05. The answer is 0.45. And for 0.45, you have to see the z value. 0.45. Where is 0.45? This is the value 1.65. 1.65. 1.65. So with positive sign, definitely. Okay, so now you will write down that if the calculated value, and I am not going to write down, you can simply write down, if calculated value of z statistic will exceed 1.65, we would reject H naught. Right. Then comes step 5, computations. And in computations, first of all, you will find out PC, sorry, P1. What is P1? X1 divided by N1. Similarly, what is P2? X2 divided by N2. What is X1? What is X2? So come over here. 2010, this is X1, and 3000 women, this is N1.
Point 6 7.
This is 0.67. Very good. And what is this? This is 1530 divided by 3000.
0.51.
0.51. Okay. Then find combined proportion. 2010 plus 1530 divided by N1 and 2. So 3000 plus 3000. See the answer.
Our answer is 0.59.
0.59. So this is your combined proportion, and now you can substitute all the values in the Z formula. So what is P1? 0.67 minus 0.51. 67 minus 0.51 divided by, sorry, PC. So QC, you can find it out. QC 1 minus 0.59. See the answer for this. What is QC? Point
41.
41. 0.41 is your QC. So now write down here 0.59 multiplied by 0.41, and in the braces 1 over 3000 plus 1 over 3000. Braces close, take square root of this and see what is the answer. So 0.16 will be there as numerator. When you will multiply 0.59 multiply by 0.41, this is 0.2419, and in the braces there will be 2 by 3000. That means there will be 1 by 1500 square root.
12.59.
What is the answer?
12.59.
12.59.
Yes, sir.
So big value. Let me check it. Yes, you are correct. It is 12.599, or you can write it down as 12.60. So even then, it is a large value, 12.59. So now you have to see that 12.59 will be to which side of the distribution? Yes, right side, and it is larger than this value, so it will be in the rejection region. So what will you say? You will say that as the calculated value is greater than the critical value, so therefore we would reject H naught. So you can say over here Z calculated, Z tabulated. This was 1.65. This is 12.59. Clearly, this is greater. Therefore, reject H naught. Reject H naught. And finally, interpretation. So what will you interpret? What are you going to do? You are going to reject H naught. You are going to reject H naught. It means you are going to accept H1. So exception of H1 means in the first survey, you can say whatever the reply was from women, that was good regarding men. I mean, yes, it is quite right that in the second survey, women women have replied that men are less kind, gentle, and thoughtful. Okay. Whereas in the previous survey, in the first survey, they were saying that no, they are kind, gentle, and thoughtful. So comparatively, in the second survey, the reply was not in favor of men. Right. So this is what that you can write down as your in the sixth step. So if you write down correctly from here, can we conclude that women think men are less kind? So you will say you will simply write down here yes. Yes, we can conclude that, or based on our empirical results, we can conclude that women think men are less kind, gentle, and thoughtful in later survey compared with the earlier on. So these words you can simply repeat, no problem. Over here, simply write down yes and then write down that whole statement, whole sentence. The complete sentence will be there with yes. Right? Then if you see these tables, so again there are two populations. So try solving this question. The answer will be there in your book. Okay. So one population will be represented by pi 1, the other with pi 2, and you will try solving this. And as the word difference is there, so it will be two-tailed distribution. Then come to this question. Again, answer for this is given in your book. And can we conclude that there is a larger proportion of Democrats in favor of lowering the standards? So this will be single tail, and tail will be to the right side of the distribution. Finally, this question, the research department at Home Office of New Hampshire Insurance conducts ongoing research on the causes of automobile accidents, the characteristics of the drivers, and so on. A random sample of 400 policies written on single persons revealed 120 had at least one accident in the previous 3-year period. Similarly, a sample of 600 policies written on married persons revealed that 150 had been in at least one accident. At 0.05 significance level, is there a significant difference in the proportions of single and married person having an accident during a 3 year period? Determine the p-value. So I think it is very easy. You can solve it. Can you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Inshallah.
So
Yes,
as
sir.
the word
Inshallah.
difference is there, yes, difference. The word difference is there. It will be two-tailed. Fine. So you will simply divide this 0.05 with 2. So 0.025 will be to the right side, 0.025 will be to the left side. And then you will use the formula that we have just used, and you will be able to find out the answer. So this is all for today, and I suggest you to solve some questions from the chapter exercises also. Okay, thank you very much for your patience. Allah Hafiz.